So as fans versed in geek culture, we like Harry Potter, right? But there hasn't been a great board game for Harry Potter yet. I mean, the card game's fun, the deck builder game, but we want to play a different style game, maybe a Euro game based in the Harry Potter universe, which brings us to Dragonsgate College. You're thinking, wait a minute, that has nothing to do with Harry Potter. You're right, it doesn't. It's not a Harry Potter game, and I don't want you to dangerously think, wow, it's just Harry Potter or Hogwarts in an action placement, a dice placement, worker placement style game, because it's not. But it is an interesting game. It is the idea of a trade school almost. It's almost like Mike Rowe comes down and does dirty jobs or does a trade school PSA for wizards. And so it's a really cool concept. Let's take a look now at how Dragonsgate College plays, and should you pick up this dice placement, dice drafting, whatever you want to call it, game from NSKN Games right now. So here's what your personal player board looks like in Dragonsgate College. Everyone will start with these 3 apprentices. They're all potentially different. They're all slightly the same, really, too, because they're in your color. You'll start with 2 wizards in your color as well. You actually start with 3, but you'll choose one of them. What these do is they set your skill levels over here. So this one has a +1 to brawn. This one has a +1 to stealth, or cunning, or whatever it is, stealth. You'll notice that your magic is 0. So these wizards will continue to boost your stats, and the stats are important for when you go to take jobs later. Here's the extra dice you would keep right here. These dice are for when you switch out one of the white dice for one of yours. The important thing about that is when an opponent takes your dice to use an action, you also get to do the action for free. This is your maintenance track down here. Basically, this is your upkeep cost. The further this gets in here for each building you build, the more you're going to have to pay. So the way this works is when you place a building down, it costs you, well, 3 things happen. It's 2 coins per space. So this is a 2-spacer. It's 2 coins per space. It moves the maintenance cube that many spaces as well. So that's 2 spaces. And you would get a victory point per space as well. So that would happen. This would then move you up on the subterfuge track, and you'll instantly get a +1 to your stealth. So that is everything that happens on your player board. When you take a job, you'll take one of the circles from the job and you'll cover these instant bonuses up. When you do, you just get the bonus listed under. So this would be an imp, this would be a +1 to your magic, this would be a +1 to the, I just totally lost it, I said it a minute ago, but the subterfuge track, and this is a coin. These bonuses, kind of like Caverna, when covered, they'll just give you that. So when you cover this, you get a +1 to your brawn. If you were to cover that instead, you would get a +1 to your stealth instead of your brawn. So you say, what are all these +1s for? What's the point of this? Well, let's take a look at the main board and see the actions, see how the game really gets into playing right now. So you have to forgive me because the board's pretty big. It's a 3-fold, lengthy board like this, so I'm just going to kind of do it in pieces. The bottom down here is a subterfuge track. This is basically just a majorities track. Highest person gets 6 points, second is 4th, third is 2, 4th is 1. This does still mean the same thing in 2-player games as well, so it's kind of weird. This is the turn order, not the turn order, well, it's the turn tracker as well as turn order track, player order track. This is an action. You can use any number of dice to go here, and wherever you put your token is the order in which you're going to go plus the bonus you're going to get. So just know that that's the whole point of what this is down here. This is the bottom of the jobs track. We'll talk about that in a little bit. This is kind of the secret chamber or the chamber of secrets type area. It's a dungeon you fight through to get victory points. It's one of the actions you can take. But right now, let's look up here at the top of the board and kind of see where the majority of the tokens are, majority of the actions. Normally, you would seed the board up there every round with different apprentices and different wizards. And the point of this is you're running these wizards through trade school, effectively through Dragonsgate College. You're running these future wizards to become wonderful job havers over here. And the way this works is, you notice like your professors on your board, these also have permanent stat bonuses. If you were to hire another professor, this would give you a +1 to your magic and a +2 to your brawn. The thing is though, you can only have as many professors as you have space to house them. You have dorms to house them. So you start with 2 on your board, but if you build a building that has this symbol with a wizard's hat, you can put another wizard there. This symbol means that you can back up 1 on that maintenance track. You can kind of look at the back of the instructions. It tells you what all the different types of buildings do. Here's another one with a wizard spot. These have apprentice spots. You can put more apprentices and more wizards out. You need apprentices because they're what lets you continue to get points down here from the jobs. So let's start with the different actions. The dice pool is made up of 1 of your color in the very beginning in a 2-player game. It's 1 of your color, 1 of the opponent's colors, and 2 white dice. You know this because the track kind of tells you that down here. But if you take the action with your opponent's color, you would get to do that action as well. Or sorry, if your opponent takes an action with your dice, say you need a number, they need a number 4, and they take this action and use it, well then if it's your dice, you would get to do that action for free. So it's a pretty cool little mechanic. I really like that. That does not happen with the white dice. So the phases would go in this order here. Your preparation phase, so you would reload the professors and the apprentices. The income phase, everybody gets 2 coins, plus if you have anything on your buildings that give you that. The dice roll, so then you would roll. Then you would take your actions. And so here are the actions, and we'll talk about them right now. First of all is moving through this chamber secret sort of place, the dungeon. You'll have a little tracker that goes there that you would mark where you go. Well, you get whatever bonus you pass. So a 6 would let you move 3 spaces. So if you wanted to spend it, you would just put this up here. 1, 2, 3. You would get a coin, an imp, and +1 to your brawn rating. Imps basically just let you do like workers in a Stefan Feld game. They let you bump your dice up 1 or down 1 depending on how many you spend. So then the further you get these trophies down here. And the trophies, these are instantly worth wherever you are that many points. Not instantly, but at the end of the game, they're worth that many points. Plus, it counts as one of the trophies. At the end of the game, a set of 3 of these types of trophies is worth 4 points. Or a complete set is worth 4 points. Well, you can only get 1 from here. The other ways to get them are from the different jobs over there in the brawn track. Now, next action would be up here. This is kind of a neat one. So let's just say this was a 1. Let's just say this was a 1. If there's a dice here that's a white dice, you could then spend a 1 from this action here to take this dice and replace it with your other dice, the one that you had from the in your player board. Remember the ones that were sitting there? So you would then put another of your dice permanently into the game instead of a white dice. This makes it to where when the opponent uses yours again, you would get to do more actions potentially. That's the whole point of doing that action there. So that happens with a 1. This one is a 2, 3, or 4. It's 2 coins, 3 coins, 4 coins respectively. This is a 1, 3, or a 6. 3 coins for 1 victory point or 7 coins for 3 victory points. Up there in the top is the build action. So it's 6 or 5. And that's what I explained earlier about 2, 4, and 6 money for the spaces. This is the deck of cards. You'll get the cards out here. That is all of the actions that take place up here. Let's talk about the going to college or getting a job action down here. This is kind of where the crux of everything happens. So you have to have an apprentice. So your starting apprentice, like earlier. Now I'm going to use a blue one because it's right here. Obviously you would have your colorful red one. This apprentice has printed on it one of magic, 0, 0. You would then have the base cost, which we had 1 of brawn and 1 of stealth. Well, the way these numbers here work, so this is what's called kind of the prerequisites basically for the job. The way this works is this is a 2, 2, 2. So the job you're trying to take would be based on this, whichever token you're going for. If you want the job in the magic skill, that big number is what you'd have to have in that number. I'll show you what I'm talking about here on your player board. So let's just say you were trying to take this disc here with the magic job. You would need a 2 in this skill, and then the lower ones would also be a 2, 2, 2. This one's a 2, 2, 2. This one's a 3, 2, 2. This one's a 4, 0, 0. Up here, you've got all the way up to a 6, 4, 4. So these are just different skills. Now, you say, how in the world would you get a 6, 4, 4? Well, remember your wizards will continue to bump it up. So if you have better wizards, that could be bumped as well. You get the bonus from this person. And then also, if you're short, you can pay a coin. But that's really the way to do it. You get those skills up by doing things to permanently boost your skills, as well as the apprentice that you're putting up there has potential to be better at a certain type of skill, and then you pay a coin for any deficit. When you do that, what happens is you'll then take the bonus here. You'd instantly get one of the wizard cards, and I'll show you what those do. You would put this on your board and cover up one of those things like we talked about. You'll instantly get the bonus down here at the bottom, which is an imp and a victory point. And then let's just see what this card would be. So this card is immediately get a coin or another card, and then all other players would gain 2 coins or an imp. So it's kind of a cool little thing that it benefits everybody really, but it's kind of a grab bag. So that's everything that happens here on the board. Let's talk final scoring and then final thoughts. So let's talk final scoring here. The way it works is at the end of that round 5, oh, you also get the combined action dice on the 5th round. This basically just works as no matter who uses this, the other player gets to do that action. So pretty neat. One of the rules, you cannot manipulate the number of a dice used by the combined action dice, or if your opponent uses your dice. You can't manipulate that with an imp. Anyway, so it's 5 coins equal a point at the end of the game. Every 2 imps you have is a coin or a point. For a set of bronze, it's 4. For a set of silver, it's 4. That's 3, 3, and 3. For a set of gold, it's 4. For one of each, it's 4. Down here, the highest on the subterfuge track, we talked about that. Person with the most apprentices on their board gets a point. Person with the most wizards gets a point. And the person with the most buildings gets a point. Last but not least here, if you have the starting token, which again, you would get that by going here. Otherwise, it goes clockwise, which that, by the way, I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of if there's a place to go to get the first player token, it also moving. I'm not crazy about that. And then last but not least, if you have 3 different careers, you get 2 points, and any space you have open on your board is a -1 point. So that's all the points in the game. Let's talk about how we feel about this.
So that's how the game plays, and I'll tell you what, I was very pleasantly surprised with this game. First of all, 2 players, this played very, very fast. There are a lot of times Carla and I want to play a game and get it to the table, especially with dice placement mechanics, that we can play fast and just be done with it and enjoy. This one definitely worked for that. My only knock against this game, there's 2 knocks actually. The one knock is I'm not crazy about the art style on the buildings or necessarily some of the board elements. Now some of them are great, like the Chamber of Secrets sort of deal. The dungeon is really good. Some of the other elements are, they're weird. It's just kind of a strange art style. However, every character in this game is fantastically drawn. Like all the art for the characters, the models and stuff like that, the people is great. It's a phenomenal thing. So it's not a totally knock. It's actually just a slight tweaks could have been changed to make it look even a little better. But I get it. It's an art style. It's a choice. I understand that. The second knock would be and this isn't really a knock so much because it is a dice placement game, and this is just kind of the tragedy of all dice placement games. And that would be that sometimes later in the game, especially, you can get to a point where, depending on what dice are rolled, you feel like there's nothing you can do. Like it doesn't benefit you. You're already up all the way on the, the dungeon track. You can't quite do a job right now or something like that. So it's just kind of weird sometimes. And again, that's not a problem with this game necessarily. It's an inherent problem with all dice placement games, but there are ways around it because of the imps. The imps will let you manipulate the dice up or down. So just kind of know that those imps are very important to have. Things I love about this game, I love the concept, and I don't know of another game that does it. I'm sure there are, but because there's nothing new under the sun in board gaming, even if it's like like a Rising Sun. Well, there's things implemented in other games, right? But the concept of if your dice is used by another player, then you get to take that action for free. That is such a cool concept. I've not seen that used anywhere else, and I really love the idea where I need a 6. The only person with a 6 is the other player. And if I use the 6, they're going to get that benefit too. It's really cool. I love that concept. I love the idea of being able to put more of your dice out there through that other action, using a 1 to do it. The other things I really like are the combined action dice, where towards the end of the game, it does it anyway. And so lots of cool options. I like how the dice pool grows as the game gets further. It feels like the game doesn't feel stagnant because where it's not 5 rounds of the same, but it kind of progresses and you get to do more and more actions as the game goes along, because they know up front, if they were to give you 6 or 8, 10 dice up front, there's really no use for them up front. You couldn't quite do what you need to do. So I like the progressive dice pool getting bigger and bigger. So that's the major stuff about this game. I like the mechanics, I like the actions, I like how everything plays. I was really pleasantly surprised with this game. I would give it a 7 easily. It's really fun, it's really fast, and I think it's something you'll enjoy too. I love the idea of sending the apprentices out there to get jobs. I love the idea that it's a trade school pretty much. I think Rado said that it's a trade school for wizards and magicians and all that sort of thing. So I think that's a really cool concept and a really cool idea. So Dragonsgate College, NSKN games, it's a definite play for me. I think if you like this sort of thing, if you like Euros, you should definitely buy it because it's a quick playing Euro. You could play this in game night very fast, and I think that's a really big selling point because there are a lot of Euro games that are excellent games, but then you're playing aggro for 4 hours or so, which is, by the way, a great game. But that is NSKN's Dragonsgate College. Make sure to check it out. I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow me on Twitter right here at The Latest Retro. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching the Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.